Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My wife Gayton and I have been members of VPC for over 40 years now, and the Earth Care team asked me to tell you a little bit about my story. So I moved to Silicon Valley right out of Purdue and ended up working for Intel and a whole bunch of startups. And I was quite enamored with the startup culture and worked for 10 companies over about 30 years. During that time, our son John was home for the summer getting ready to head off to college. And that should have been a happy time, but instead he and I were butting heads. He didn't like my work habits. I didn't like his scrutiny. So after several weeks, we sat down to try to work things out. Turns out I was just trying to optimize my work time, and he was trying to optimize Earth's resources, which were in conflict. So I figured if I could just get him to agree that I'd be willing to pay for my wasted electricity and my wasted paper and water and gas, why should he care? Well, his love of nature came from being an Eagle Scout right here in this church, and my love of nature, or lack of it actually, came from just being misinformed. So for some reason I chose to listen to John that day and learned that the earth was in trouble for the first time. I later opened Al Gore's book, Inconvenient Truth, and the charts and the graphs in the book just pierced my heart as an engineer. And I haven't been the same since. It turns out that once you know, you can't unknow. And so I had to figure out what I was going to do about it. So one of the other things I learned that day was that it took a young person to change my worldview. I had adult friends who were pestering me about sustainability and climate change, but it took one of my kids to finally break through to me. So I decided back in 2008 to only work for companies that were part of the solution and that were not part of the problem. And I also figured that I need to find some impactful ways to teach kids how to reach their adults. So I started with scouting since John got his basics there. It took 3 years of prep and planning, but I finally got a meeting with the incoming president of BSA. And our 15-minute appointment turned into a 90-minute deep dive, and he finally asked me, "So Scott, what do you think we should do?" Fortunately, several of us had worked on options to consider, so when he asked me to build a team to write the Sustainability Merit Badge book, I was able to tell him yes. It took us a year, but we launched it at the 2013 National Jamboree on schedule. And 10 years and 3 jamborees later, over 60,000 scouts have earned that badge on their way. That makes me cry when I say that. On their way to becoming an Eagle Scout and to have the knowledge to impact the adults in their world just like John did for me. So with the Merit Badge successfully launched, Gayton and I decided it was time to find a bigger impact. So in 2018, we co-founded Sustainable Future Outdoor Academy to teach middle school and high school kids how to reduce their family's footprint and how to find high-paying green jobs, both of which would allow them to make their own personal impact. We tried using summer camps during the school year, but had to pivot from overnight camps to day camps to field trips due to COVID and the fact that our summer camp actually burned down in the CZ fire. So we finally settled on green career field trips, and we've taken 3,000 students on 65 field trips to 196 sites, including 90-minute trips to Rivian, Joby Aviation, Impossible Foods, plus PG&E substations, water plants, and electrical worker training centers. We only do trips in Silicon Valley at this point, but we're working on an in-class version that will help us scale to other major cities. So I'd like to show you a short video now of one of our sustainability water trips.
The goals of SFOA are to have interactive experiences for middle school students and high school students to introduce them to green careers, green industries, and sustainability.
The purpose of the trip today was to show them the big picture about water. We're showing them sources of water, uses of water, different water systems.
First, we went to Hidden Villa Farm. Today, we're going to be walking you through our beautiful space.
And they got to see this garden that was self-sustained on the farm.
I really liked what the farm was doing. All of their ecosystem-friendly practices, the way they conserve water.
This is water that we've already used to wash our hands, and then we're gonna go ahead and put this in the garden. Yeah, it's a little dirty. The plants don't care.
The way they use the animals to both help the animals, help the farm.
When the pigs turn over all that wood chips, it's helping us to keep water and carbon in the soil.
It was just fun to see them kind of be excited about seeing the animals, learning about the water resources, and how to be sustainable.
We then went and checked out the Polgus Water Temple, which is part of our water infrastructure.
It's actually 160 miles from Hetchy Dam to where we're sitting here.
The water temple made an impact on me because people need water to live, right? And if they don't have that water, how are they going to survive?
The way that we get our water from that huge reservoir is through a series of pipelines and tunnels.
We get to see a plumbing system that someone actually created to bring water to our reservoir that we use for drinking water.
And then we went across the Crystal Springs Dam.
And from there, we ventured on to the Impossible Food headquarters, where we took a tour of their labs.
Actually seeing the scientists creating the new products, it was just an incredible experience.
Green Careers field trips are a way to introduce students to green careers and green industries in a much more in-depth way than they would be at, let's say, a job fair.
It really exposed students to, I think, a variety of careers that they would not have known that existed already.
I never knew about these opportunities that we could have.
You could work at a farm, you can work on moving water, you can work on creating replacements for different types of meat. There's probably a whole ton of things that you can do that we never saw.
Overall, I was completely surprised at how much we actually fit into one day. But I think what was most unique was that when we were talking about the watershed, we were in a watershed. When we were talking about how to be sustainable with animals, we were with the animals.
Actually being on the ground, seeing that in person is invaluable and truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Did you enjoy the video? The kids really love their field trips. So we provide tools for them also to take home to their families, and I brought some for you if you'd like them. The first one's about the water and carbon intensity of food, which you should keep in your kitchen. This will probably change your diet. The second's about efficiency of electric bikes versus cars, and that might change your transportation habits. The third one is about home electrification, and basically this may change how you heat air and water and food. And the fourth one is more for the kids, but it's about green jobs for high school, community college, and university graduates. And so hopefully this will change some young people's careers. So if you'd like any of these handouts, or you would like to talk about coming on a field trip with me in the fall, just meet me in the back by the table outside, and we can talk about that. So our work has survived COVID and the CZ fire, and I actually got run over by a tractor in there too, so it survived that. So I pray that God will continue to bless our work, and thank you for listening and for your prayers.